All right, we're back for an all new show. Listen, Blue, I'm here with you. Damage isn't here because it's his birthday. Look, I'm
Hmm.
fresh off the plane from Paris Fashion Week. I had an amazing trip. I have to tell you, I also had a lot of challenges while we were there. A lot of stuff happened. Blue, my assistant was hit in a car crash.
Wait,
I
what?
was pepper spray. I was pepper sprayed at a club. I was detained. I was extorted and I just I had a very traumatic experience. All jokes aside, I had a very traumatic experience in Paris to the extent that it has changed my life forever. We will talk offline about that. But I just
Okay.
have to say I want to give a really quick shout out to the French police and the French government for doing everything that it could to protect me, a public figure, and somebody who had a lot of questions about how things were going to go down out there in Paris. They were very, very, very good. So shout out to them. Shout out to the translators. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the U.S. Embassy. Shout out to my attorneys. Shout out to my team, my assistant. Shout out to just people. And shout out to the TSAs in America because I am happy to be back in the United States, and it'll be a while before I leave again, maybe a
Oh,
week or so. But yeah, I am happy to be back.
well, Jason, the last person who went to Paris and had a life altering incident, I think it was Kim Kardashian that we heard of. So I
Mhm.
think this is the universe telling you that you're officially a celebrity now. Like you're not just a public
You know,
figure anymore. You're going to Paris Fashion Week and having an incident. That sounds like celebrity problems to me.
one thing that I have to acknowledge, when Viola Davis had talked before about imposter syndrome, and I've heard so many people, the noise online gets loud at times. You're nobody, you're nothing, you're a loser, you're a fraud, you're nobody, that does somehow find some space in your mind where I know who I am and I know what I've accomplished, I know what I'm doing, I know what I've built, I get it, and I know who I am, but I'm also just a human being. Like I'm the most humble, down to earth, accessible, overly accessible at times person. So many ways I don't see myself the way that other people do, and now I have reconciled with the fact that I am a public figure. I am somebody who is known around the world. I am somebody who has a lot of visibility. When you look at our YouTube channel, billion minutes watched, that's a billion minutes watched, but you don't think about a billion eyeballs seeing you, and that's a billion
Mhm.
people potentially. And I've now have to reconcile with that. And it's not being fake to be cautious and protective of the brand that I built, and not
Exactly.
allowing everybody to have direct access to you. And so I landed. The first thing I did was called Tiffany Haddish. And I said, I need a therapist and I'm going to therapy. I'm literally traumatized by this last experience. And I'm going to at some point tell my story. But I absolutely unequivocally can never be the same, will never be the same. And so even anything that happens to me, I always look at it like, what is the lesson? What is the experience that I was supposed to get out of this? And I'm telling you right now, my hand to God, I got the lesson. I got it. I prayed on it. I have been since in touch with God to have a conversation, and I'm just so grateful that I'm able to really just continue to grow and experience life and all of what it has in store for me. So that all happened,
Wow.
Blue. Yes, that all
Woo.
happened, Blue, directly after one of the most amazing moments of my life. And this is how funny life is, right? You're not gonna get the lemon and the lemonade without the rotten peaches. You know what I mean? I don't even know if that's the same, but
You're not gonna
you
get the
know,
lemon without the sourness too. There's a little bit of sourness when you have lemonade. Yeah.
this all happened directly after I had one of the most amazing moments of my life. Everybody knows that I love Cardi B. I love Belcalis Almazar. That's her name. On a personal level, have become a friend. I'm a fan of hers, and in many ways, she's our Cinderella. Last year for her birthday, it was such a monumental moment for her in her career, having risen to the top, won the Grammys and all that, multi-platinum, diamond albums, all of the accolades, all the fashion cover magazines and all that. I thought going to her birthday party, what can you get somebody who seemingly has it all? And it dawned on me that she had never met Christian Louboutin. This was last year. And so I called Christian Louboutin, who, by the way, if you don't know, is a black man.
Wait, what? Hold on.
And
Wait, he's black?
yes, Christian Louboutin is Egyptian. He's African. Yes, Christian Louboutin is a black man.
Oh.
I
Okay.
called I called I called Christian and I asked Christian to design a pair of shoes for her, and he designed two options. But it was the one shoe, the bloody shoe as I call it, that stood out. Let me show you this video of Christian putting a bow on the shoe. This is Christian Louboutin, the Egyptian man, putting a yellow bow on the red, all red patent leather, red bottom heel that I call the bloody shoe. And he's wrapping it in a yellow bow because of Bodak yellow. Okay.
Wow.
Han did this for Cardi. Let me show you the boxing that he did. For those of you that are listening on the podcast, you have to go check it out on YouTube. Okay. He put this beautiful, beautiful red patent leather shoe with a red heel and the Bodak yellow bow into this beautiful box. And the unboxing of it was amazing. Not only did he put the shoe in the box, but he also provided her with a whole other pair of shoes. Let me show you what the shoes actually look like. Those of you listening to the podcast, you have to go to the YouTube channel. He put on there, Cardi B, these are your shoes tonight. Don't let anybody touch them because they are yours. And what it said at the top of that was, there's some hoes in the house, because she had just come out with the song WAP. Okay, and he signed it, Much Love, Christian Louboutin. Mr. Louboutin made these shoes for her last year, and she was so in love with them that she was crying when I took them to her house. That Blue, this year, I had to top that by flying to Paris and introducing her to Christian Louboutin.
Jason, you are giving her like husband level gifts. And I actually remember the last birthday because it was the first time that I had shot with you in Damage, and we had just finished shooting with Floyd. So it was my very first episode of Hollywood Unlocked, and you left at like 2 o'clock in the morning to make sure she got those shoes. And I was like, he must love her because I'm going to bed. It was like 3 a.m. and you went to go give her those shoes. And so the fact that a year
Mm-hmm.
later, the full circle moment, we all need friends like you. My
Yeah,
birthday's coming up in April.
I pulled up at her house at 2:30 in the morning, and her security was like, "What you want?" And I was like, wake up, Belcalis Almazar, because I got this box I got to give to her." But let me tell you this. It was the perfect moment. She was in Paris for Fashion Week. Christian and I have been talking for the last 2 years about me coming to visit over there, but with COVID, the borders and everything shut down. Let me show you this video from our dinner where I had to start the conversation between the two of them about the bloody shoes. Take a look. Okay, so listen, you know my friend, the bloody shoes? Bloody shoes.
Pleasure. Hi. Pleasure.
And this is my other friend, the other bloody shoes.
What do you mean bloody shoes?
Bloody. Together. Blue, I plotted on that video all night because
I know you.
it was
I know
iconic.
you. You know what I love about the clip, and not just the clip, but like the whole thing of you and Cardi and Louis Vuitton. I mean, that's a flex in itself. People are going to see this and be like, "Oh, Paris Fashion Week, bloody shoes. This is so materialistic and so she." Cardi, remember where she came from? She came from the Bronx, right? And to see how much she's manifested, look where you came from. And the two of you being in Paris Fashion Week at like the height of what is considered bourgeois, I think it's just a great testimony to manifestation and what happens when people are bigger than their circumstances. So for me, I find this inspiring for a whole different reason.
With a very successful, world-renowned, iconic Black man.
A Black man. I'm going to sit with that one. That is amazing to me.
That I think was the biggest thing for me, that you had four, because her stylist Colin Carter, who did a phenomenal job. Four really. Oh, and Offset, her husband. We were all there. Offset kept coming and going though. Offset was over the snails or whatever they was trying to serve. Offset was like, "Look,
Escargot.
I'm about to go outside," and it was just to have that many successful people of color in one space who all came from different places in terms of their career, but also the intersection between where we all came from, and being able to talk to Christian about just the history of his shoes and how he came up with it all, and Cardi, and why she rapped about him. When she said bloody shoes, we asked him what he thought, and he said he thought bloody shoes meant violence, because where he's from, bloody shoe violence. And she was explaining that for her growing up, working in the strip club, not having no money, not even being able to pay her rent, but she wanted to feel like a rich bitch, having, her man take her to go buy some Christian Louboutin. She felt luxury, it was luxury. And so being able to watch them have that exchange was so amazing, and it was definitely a moment. And so, but that wasn't the moment that caught everybody's eyes. Cardi B literally is the queen of Paris Fashion Week. This woman just had a baby 3 weeks ago and
Right.
popped out with multiple looks. Let me show you some looks while I talk about them. Okay. She killed this Mugler number. Now I don't even know who Mugler is because I'm not into fashion. I still go to Zara. Sometimes I'm over at Neiman's, but this look, keep going through the looks for those of you watching. Blue, did you see these?
Wow. She looks amazing and snatched. Oh my God.
And the artistic, what I love is that, again, we're talking 3 weeks after having a kid popping out with all this high end. I mean, I asked them where they got all this because I didn't see this on the rack at Saks. They went and got it out of a museum.
Her commitment to her creativity, I don't think people really, really sit with Cardi's work ethic. This is work to look like this. This is actual
Yeah.
work and creativity and artistry. Oh, I'm
Well,
gagging.
listen. It wasn't just Cardi B that killed it. Her husband Offset also did his thing. Now these are some looks from Offset's thing. We don't know if he's the
Oh.
Black Panther or if he's Iron Man, but either way, somebody straight out the A
Oh, I
that
love this
killed it,
one. Look at
slayed
this.
all of them. Yeah, and we're now the same size. So I want this is the outfit he wore to dinner. This is what they wore to the dinner. But
Power couple.
again, I want the fashion. This is the Balenciaga look that he had, I believe. Offset killed it as well. So King and Queen of Paris Fashion Week 2021.
This is part of my power couple goals. I want to be in a relationship with someone who we can work hard with and then flex this hard and apply pressure
Hmm.
when we decide to step out. I love seeing couples who can have that moment together. And so to me, those couples pictures in particular kind of speak to me. And Jason, I want you at some point to be in Fashion Week with your boo in matching Mugler
Listen,
outfits.
next time I go back to Paris, I'm gonna have tons of security. I'm gonna have a whole system and
Oh
team put in
gosh.
place, like traumatic. Okay. Listen, another thing I want to say is that what I love about Cardi's story is where she came from and where she is. And the person I talked to recently, Luke James, a friend of mine that I literally have seen from the beginning of his career. I recently ran into him at Neiman Marcus shopping when he was getting some clothes for his new life on Broadway. And so I talked to Luke James. Do you familiar with Luke James, right?
Luke James is extremely attractive and I have eyes. So yes, I
Hmm.
am familiar with him. I think he's on The Shy and yeah, actually he is on The Shy. His acting is amazing. He actually has a storyline that is controversial and very brave for a black man. So I hope you guys talk about that. I just think he's an amazing actor and from what I've heard cuz we have a lot of mutual friends, he's a good person. Nobody has
Yeah.
anything bad to say about this man ever.
Well, Luke James is amazing, and here he is, Luke James. All right, Luke James is finally here on the show. Luke, now as long as I know you now, I'm pissed that you haven't been here sooner.
Yeah, I know. I know. It has been years. I've what,
Yeah,
8 years, 9 years almost. I've been.
it's been a long time. Listen, okay, couple things. One, I didn't know that you were a Gemini. You're not, I have this thing where I don't trust Geminis or Capricorns, but you're very not the typical Gemini. Have people tell you that or no?
Uh, no. Usually when people find out I'm a Gemini, they're just like they don't sometimes don't give it a chance to know me in that sense.
Right, because I feel like Geminis, at least the Geminis that I deal with online, they're always like it's just a bipolar experience where you get one day and then you get somebody a different another day. But I
Possible.
think you've been pretty consistent.
Yeah, I mean, you and I guess I could be weird at times to some. If you stick around long enough, I guess. I don't know. I'm pretty.
Well, I've always
I feel like we're always the same.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like one thing with you, I've always gotten just you're very consistent, always good energy. So I ran into you recently in New York City shopping. We were shopping at a pretty nice place where you're making a little coin.
Oh yeah,
Clearly, life is doing well for you. At Neiman Marcus, and
yeah.
found out that you're on Broadway here in New York.
Yes, yes. I'm on Broadway. This is my debut. Making my debut. Currently, we're in previews. The show is called Thoughts of a Colored Man. Um, Written by Keenan Scott II. It's a beautiful, beautiful, transcending, transformative piece of art, and I'm grateful to be making my debut on Broadway via this. So yeah, it was awesome to see you.
No, I know it was so random, but I've been so proud of watching you and your career as you've just navigated through the business. Like you said, we've known each other for a long time. We met in LA. I never knew that you were from New Orleans, though. I mean, I never knew that you were a Southern guy.
Yeah, New Orleans, born and raised downtown, Seven Ward. Oh yeah,
So does that mean like is that the hood? Because I recently had
yeah,
Master P here, and we were talking about Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Department, and that's such a
yeah,
horrible, horrible place. But is
yeah.
that the hood where you're from?
It's weird to say because I kind of feel like New Orleans is all like the same. So I wouldn't really know what is considered the hood unless it's the projects.
Mm,
Um, it's pretty much it's pretty much the same. I don't know what we can consider what would make it hood. Um,
mm.
New Orleans is a big city but small in this in a way. So I feel like it's kind of just one big pot of beautiful people.
Hmm. No, I love New Orleans. I've only been there a few times though, and of course I'm a tourist, so Bourbon Street is pretty much where I hang out. So, growing up in New Orleans, because I've never asked you, I've never had the privilege of interviewing you. I just
Yeah,
know you as Luke,
this is
the guy
crazy.
who can. It's different, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, listen, you don't have to be too guarded with me, Luke. I'm a fair guy. I do have a wild show, but the
what you
show
do?
is like the show has gone through its roller coasters. I was recently on the Breakfast Club and I said, I'm less tea, more cappuccino. You
I'm
know,
into that. I'm into that.
I've mastered the tea thing. I want to get to, elevated conversations because, when you're in the business and you're pursuing your dreams, you start out somewhere and you don't always get everything right or you master what you know to be right. And then you say, hey, well, what else is there? Like you started out singing and now you're acting and now
Yeah,
you're on Broadway. So
yeah.
what has the evolution been like?
Wow, the evolution has been like you said, ups and downs. Some making do having to do a few things that I'm probably not wasn't completely happy doing. Um, but in order to get to the space where I'm at now, I feel like I'm at a place where I failed at all the things that I hate doing. So my only option are the things that I love to do. So that's where I'm at now. I'm grateful to be where I'm at. It's been up and down, but to be fair, I'm grateful, and I've been enjoying the ride. This is just an awesome experience, man. I mean, even this right here is like a full circle moment, you know. This is I'm just enjoying the ride. I'm telling you, and there's no
Mm.
cap.
This isn't Luke and Jason at the bowling alley. We're not at pins. You know what I mean? We're
I know
actually we're actually professionals.
this
Wait,
this
so
this
that's
this is fire.
what wait, so let's unpack that for a minute. What are the things that you believe that you failed at? What is that? Unpack that
Well,
for me.
it's just like when you pursue. A lot of times as artists, we jump into the business while at the same time still discovering ourselves as an artist, discovering our voice, what we want to say, what we want to do. For me at that time, was music. So what was it that I wanted to offer to the world, and still figuring that what that what still figuring that out. Um, so you make a lot of decisions, but you're making them as you go in front of everyone, presenting it as yourself, you know. When in actuality, and I'm only realizing that as I'm in the business now longer, and I can look back on things and see what I could have done different. But if I had done that, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I wouldn't have the knowledge that I have of this business, this entertainment business, and I wouldn't have, I wouldn't be so sharp as I am today, if I didn't take those chances and take that particular direction, with being signed, or putting a particular sound of music out, or associating with this and that or whatever, you know, those types of things. Um, so yeah, that, you know, it's kind of like, but you got to do it scared, or else you never do it, you know. So I don't have regrets. Um, so that part is cool. So yeah,
I mean, okay, so you put out the Luke James mixtape in 2014. You've been doing music for a while. I always thought you were one of the best R&B voices that was the most underrated when you first
yeah,
came out, because I think that until you really have longevity and skin in the game, people don't give you the credibility that,
yeah,
not credibility, but um the respect that you deserve, as a
yeah.
singer, as a crooner. And we all know
Yeah.
R&B music, unless white people are singing it, black, they really don't give it the credibility
Is
that
it,
it
well,
deserves
well,
anyway.
we're supposed to know how to sing. We're supposed to know how to dance and play ball and jump high and do miraculous things. We're supposed to because we're black, which is true because we are magical. But yeah, it's fucked up in that regard.
Yeah, but I remember one of the biggest things you did, and I always wanted to ask you this question. As your friend, as my friends, I don't be asking y'all stuff because I feel like when I do it, I'm gonna do it on my show. But when you first got that real big like shot out of the cannon was when I remember watching you open up for Beyonce on tour.
Yeah,
And you had that time in front of her audience, which is a massive, I mean, it's massive.
crazy.
Did you feel at that time that you were ready for that level of exposure, or did you take the opportunity and use it as a vehicle to really propel yourself out there in the spotlight?
I don't know if I complete. I don't. I don't. I had always looked at it. I had always looked at it as a glimpse of what the universe has for me. That's how I remember thinking of it that way. You know, I mean, because I had always I've never seen myself as an opening act. So being an opening act for the biggest artists of our generation, um, yeah, I looked at that as like this is what you're gonna have. You just have to work your ass off for it, you know, and that's what I took that as. I mean, it was a phenomenal experience and opportunity that, oh man, I trip sometimes because it almost doesn't feel like that was real. You know what I
I
mean?
mean
It
I
was
mean
just
for people that if you were one or two people that didn't see this tour, it was a massive tour. I mean, it was huge. The audience was probably the biggest I had ever seen at the time.
huge. I
And
was getting 16,000 a night because everybody shows up on time to see Beyonce. So they're not expecting to open an act. Everybody's just showing up to get close to the Queen. And I would have pretty much 16,000. I would be performing 16,000. Usually, if you know those who know this business, it's crickets for opening acts most times. But for me, damn, it was I had basically a full house, you know. Yeah, it was pretty wild. We were performing in like 33,000 plus, you know. It was a world tour, so we went a lot. We went everywhere in big ass arenas.
were you nervous at all at the time though? Because
Hell
I
yeah.
mean, because it was so, as a friend watching you in the audience, there's of course the fan, like, wow, he's an amazing singer and he deserves the stage. And as a friend, you're also terrified because it is such a big deal.
Yeah.
And to know you as a person who's very, you're not a loud person, you're not a very
Mhm.
animated, you're just a chill guy, and then to see you
Yeah.
on the stage, sweating and doing all of what you do as an R&B singer. I mean, it was, you're cheering your friend on too and hoping that he's enjoying it all.
See,
Were you able to enjoy it?
yeah, I was able to enjoy it. I had fun. We had fun. It was a hustle and bustle, but it was fun. Um, I mean, it was scary every night, night after night. But yeah, I'm grateful to have had that experience. Like I said, I do things scared. I have huge stage fright, but on the other side of not doing it, if I allow my fears to take over me, if I allow myself to succumb to them, on the other side of that is depression, and I I rebuke that. I'm not going through that, so fuck it. I'm just scared as shit on stage in front of everybody, and such an adrenaline rush, you know, basically like jumping out of a plane, you know.
Mm.
Um, Skydiving has to be the same feeling because that's exactly what it was for me. Um, yeah,
So what were any fondest memories of the time with Beyonce or any lessons that she gave you when you were early in your career?
she was hoarse. She was like tremendously hoarse for a lot of the first leg of the tour, and it was just amazing to see her push through. And if you knew, when you're a horse, like I'm talking like singers know, like the type of horse that your body hurts, you want to sleep, it hurts to talk, it's just when your voice ain't it, you just don't want to do nothing else. It's when you're a singer, that's because you wake up doing that. That's your thing. She was hoarse, and she would just push through. I mean, she would maul through it all. And for me, yeah, that was like, yeah, there's no excuses. This is what I do. I've got no excuses. I'm not gonna get on this mic at the beginning of the show and say I'm hoarse at any point. She never let anybody know any of that. Of course, I knew because we had conversations about it. She's just a
And
brilliant
and, I-
force.
and I'm not going to do this whole performance to a live track.
I'm everyone knows to come here and they're having a good ass time.
Right.
I've already established, she's already established herself as one of the best singers. She didn't have to do the extras that some may feel they have to, because her show is on another level and nobody does it like her. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like Michael Jackson did the same thing. You know what I mean? And on a
Right.
high level, and she just took that note and she does it on the highest level. I mean, you can see people right now try to do that on any performance that you see, and we always can tell it ain't right, but it's
Hmm.
always right for Beyonce.
And the consistency too. I think, as an artist, I'm sure there's a lot of pressure to continue to be consistent. I know one conversation that I always have with Cardi B after the success of Invasion of Privacy is like, what does that sophomore album look like? What does that sophomore album reception look like from the
That's so
audience,
it's so much pressure into that. It's so much pressure
Mhm.
into that. But you can't, as an artist, you really have to block all of that out, because then you're not present, for the muse. You're not present for the spirit that moves you to create the music that somehow moves or work the world. You know what I mean? And so if you're critiquing as you create, how can it how can it truly be true, and I think that takes a process. There's a process in that, when you have to just not give a fuck. And every artist that has ever had a moment of, I didn't give a fuck, I just went and I didn't care what the outcome was, I just went and did what I love doing, always ends up best album of the year type shit. You know what I mean? It always ends up the
Like
best.
Lil Nas X with this new album he
he
has,
freed
and it
he
just
freed himself. He freed
Mhm.
himself, said fuck all that, and look at that. Look what happens. And everyone should go after that model. The moment you say, forget all the things that were holding me down, that put fear in me, that made me be contrived, maybe be different and not my full self. Once you let all of that go, watch how you levitate. It happens for every single person. People look at it as something else, as some type of negative or whatever, but no, it's actually that's the true evolution of and true meaning of stepping out on your faith.
Mm. Well, speaking of evolution, when did acting? I mean, I didn't know you were an actor when I knew you as just Luke. Was that something that you developed along the way? Was that just a continuum of like the evolution as an artist and wanting to like see where your creativity would land?
Yeah, well, I'd always seen myself as a well-rounded artist, and for me, I'd always, you never know. Tomorrow, I may decide to get into furniture, creating furniture and furniture design, like Lenny Kravitz or something. I don't know, but I look at myself. No, I no longer look at myself as one thing. I look at myself as all things, an artist in totality. Um, and yeah, at the time, I wasn't gun ho about getting into film, I thought about it, and yeah, I aspired to want to do it and try it. But I'd always said that if I'm going to do it, it needs to be right. Um, but time, it wasn't something I was really going hard on. I was really all about music and the things that I had done prior to um, New Edition were things were doors that were open via music, you know. So it wasn't until New Edition or after New Edition where I was like, okay, I had been looking around that time. I had been looking for a new avenue, something creatively fulfilling, because I wasn't feeling fulfilled in creating music. So that came at the right time and opened my mind to now where I'm at now, you know?
Yeah. No, New Edition, I went to the premiere there in LA. BET, shout out to all the folks over at BET and all of you who did that. I feel like that was one of the first, no shade to BET, but that was like one of the first movies things that they did that I felt like they really got right. I felt
It
like the
was
casting was perfect, the
oh,
music
Robbie
was
Reed.
perfect,
Yeah.
iconic.
It was I mean, it was the from what we were told, it was the first time that the entire building was was in sync. The synergy was full throughout every department, right? Um, and that also, kudos to everyone, uh, everyone allowing their love and admiration for a group that has changed the fabric of music and how we listen to it. Because before then, New Edition is prolific, and if you think about it, because they were the first singing group, boy band to rap, to merge hip hop and R&B and do it on such a high level, and then being able to break off into different entities and be successful, and to have that type of you know that create that kind of love that expands generations. Um, the entire BET family was just amped to do everything they could to make these guys, to celebrate these guys on the highest level, and which that's what happened, and that's what you saw.
Mhm.
You know,
Well,
that's
and to play such like iconic, members of the R&B community who are still alive and who could sit there and watch you and critique you. I mean, you played Johnny
yes.
Gill. Were you ever nervous that, if I fuck this up, it's a wrap?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I was nervous, in the sense of I never thought about it as far as for me personally, for what it would do for my career. I just thought about it as like, I want to celebrate this dude who I've been mimicking since I was a kid, before I was supposed to be singing anything that he was singing. You know, so it was very divine to have the off to get the offer to portray him, because I used to mimic his voice. So yeah, I just wanted it to be right, and their team let us know how important it was that we, as the actors, and everyone else, that we respect their legacy and come in wholeheartedly. No egos. Check the egos at the door. This is not about us. This is about celebrating them and their legacy and what they've done. And that was a humbling, transformative experience, which obviously has inspired me thus far.
Mm. And then you left that and went over and played Trig, who's dating this trans woman in The Shy. Now, how different was that? I mean, that was a very different role.
When I got the opportunity, I saw what it was, um, and I was moved by it, just by what it was I had to audition. And then after uh, receiving the offer and having a great conversation with Lena, I understood what the mission was. Um, and so yeah, I was and at that time I had been just kind of putting out there in the universe that I wanted to do something that was challenging, but also I wanted to be more of a vessel. I wanted to become a better actor, where I push the boundaries of myself, as an artist, and as a vessel. Um, and I was moved by his story, by their story. So yeah, I was elated. And I love Lena. I love the Shy, and I just thought it was a different something different than I've ever done. It wasn't music related or anything, and I would have to solely fall back on my my talents as an actor, which that was the challenging part, but that's part of growth. So yeah, it wasn't hard in the sense of accepting it or and what it was, um, because I get the mission, and I just want to be a vessel, and I want to, as I can hear Cornell West say, leave a little bit of heaven everywhere you go. So that's what I'm trying to do.
All right, so it was a role that was easily to accept and understand. But why do you think it's still so hard for our community to understand, like, the whole trans community and the love that they find with men who love them?
Yeah, I think it's just that there's a through line. I think that it's just not just the trans community, but all the way through the LGBTQ plus community. I think um, in the Black community, there's a lot of conversation that needs to be had, um, on how we feel about one another. I think there's, we have a lot of undoing that needs to be had, the way we think of things. But a lot of things come from a place of fear, and survival. Um, but people, I think you need more, and that's what's so important about seeing these things on TV. Um, that helps, some art is escapism. The Shy isn't escapism art. It is art that drops you right dab in the middle of reality, and we may play with the zeitgeist of things, the what ifs or whatnot, but it's based solely based in reality and human to human connection. And that's what's beautiful about Lena's writing for the Shy. um, and I hope that it just, which it does, which it has, which it sparks a conversation, whether however it goes, the conversation is being had. Before, no, it's taboo to talk about it, but now it isn't, you know what I mean? And I wish we could just wake up and the world be a place of love and acceptance. That's the beauty of this play that I'm doing, Thoughts of a Colored Man. It's about giving Black men in totality space to be whatever it is they are, whether it's angry, whether it's happy, whether it's passionate, you know, um, it's the full depressed. It's the full realm of seeing men, Black men, and eventually, obviously, seeing all of us in the Black community as family, and giving us the space to be human, and to be free, and to live free, and be happy, and have a beautiful life filled with love, because at the end of the day, that's what everyone wants. That's the basis of it. um
Well,
so
and I,
yeah,
I think, and I also think that Lil Nas X has been doing that too, right? When he first
absolutely,
came on the scene, I didn't understand his trollism, as I would say it, but, like, now when I look at what he's actually doing and pushing the agenda of equality and making people ask the question of why can't we do it if you can, is going to go down in history as something monumental.
absolutely.
When you look at the reaction that people have been having to him and his movement, and then you look at the play that the Broadway show that you're in, what do you think it is it's going to take people to fully just embrace diversity and inclusion?
Time and healing, and truth telling, people bringing their full self, whether that is, you need the person that is homophobic, in the conversation. You can't push him to the side and say, oh well, he's homophobic. Goodbye. He didn't said something effed up. Bye. Canceled. Then you have to do that with everybody. You have to give him his space because that comes from somewhere, and it's going to take hard love, but love nonetheless, to end time, you know, to for us to get to that space, because we're, as black people, we're dealing with everything at one time, and it's going to take time. It's going to take time, but it takes art, because art is art moves people. It shapes our nation. It shapes the globe. It creates dialogue. Good art, great art.
Hmm. All right. So another question I've never asked you as my friend
Hmm.
was you had a you're single. Are you single now?
Am I single? What do you mean
Yeah.
single? Like,
Like
yeah.
are you single? Are you in a relationship? Are you talking to somebody?
No, I'm single.
Okay, because you were in a public relationship with a singer named Jessie J, who I love, and then you guys broke up,
Yeah,
and you guys handled it in such a respectful way, consistent with who I know you to be. You're not a
yeah.
messy
No,
social media clout chasing, fighting with my girl on Instagram guy.
yeah,
Thank
no.
you for that.
Thank you.
um, when you look back on that relationship, do you wish you would have kept it private? And do you think you'll be in another public relationship with another celebrity, or do you want your private life to be private?
I like my private life private. I think it's I think it's better that way. I mean, obviously, we don't know about everybody who clicks into, all the people who follow us and click into our what we project out there. We don't know their backstory, but imagine if we did. Imagine if they could imagine how they would feel if we knew everything and every move they ever made. How hard that would be to live in. Um, just because we get notoriety and have this particular talent. Yes, we're special in a way. Yes, um, but we're still human, and we still have our feelings, and we still have things that should be kept to ourselves, especially when you're dealing with someone in love. You, you can't have all these other entities that will come in, because a lot of people obviously are malicious, and you can't control that. And so I prefer to hold on to the things that I can have some sort of agency over, without sharing, you know, my control over that. Um, keeping it private is good, and it's about my art. It's about the art. It's not about nothing else. It's about the art, and I can live and sleep well with that. Going with that ideology, I think.
But do you ever think about, especially when you're in a relationship with like that, that there is so much interest in stars in their
Mhm.
personal lives that sometimes the that's more interesting is who they're with, who they're sleeping with, who they're fighting with, than their art. Don't you? Do you ever try to wrap your mind around how crazy the news and the media is around
It's
superstars?
amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing how it all somehow works. Kind of like a domino effect into each other. It is amazing. And if that's something somebody likes to do and wants to do, then that's fine, and it works. We see it work. People break up and have this big hoopla explosion of um, he say she say, and then it evolves into a project that's out all of a sudden, and then that just all of a sudden everybody's looking at that and like, oh, is he talking or is she talking about this, that? It works. I understand that, but for me, I'm beyond it. And I just think I cherish my friendships, and I cherish my love. I cherish my heart and my mind, and I cherish the ones I love and that I give my heart and my mind to. I cherish theirs, and I don't wish for any type of torture or trolling to them, regardless if it was a good or bad relationship. You know what I mean? I, I just don't. I don't wish for that. I don't wish that to be in the history books.
Hmm. Well, do you miss her? I mean, do you ever think it'll be back together, or is that it? Is
Oh,
it over?
she's my best friend. Um, it's hard to say, do I miss her? Because we talk every other day. She's my best friend. You know what I mean? She's somebody I always looked up to as a vocalist, as a singer. I was always inspired by her. So it's just a beautiful, divine intervention to have met and to have fallen in love. Um, so I will always love Jessica. She's amazing. If you know her, if you met her, you know she's a solid human being, and a gifted human being. And yeah, we will always be.
Mm.
And I
I've
think
never.
that's how it should be for everyone if you allow it. But if you have all that other shit going on inside of it, it makes it muddy, it makes it depressing to even go back to even look at, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I never understood why people fall in love, no matter why you end it, or no matter why it's over. Why does it have to be messy? Why does it have to be evil or mean spirited? It's a separation. It didn't work out. Life is so much bigger than that one situation. So
Yeah.
I always wondered, where that ended and how you all felt about each other. So I'm glad that you both are still cool, because I've never had the privilege of meeting her. I'm a huge fan of hers. I think she's a phenomenal singer. But no, I'm glad. All right, well, listen, I know you're at work. Thoughts of a Colored Man,
Yes.
on Broadway.
Please come see
So
it.
no,
It's
I need. How
amazing,
long
man.
is it running? Because I do want to see it.
Oh man, you gotta come see it. Listen, I'm not just saying it because I'm in it. I haven't seen it. I'm experiencing it because I'm doing it. But from what Wyclef and Angela Bassett and Lashana Lynch and Lettucey and all these people who have come to see it thus far, from what they tell me, it's amazing, and I'm grateful to them, and I'm grateful to all the fans that have come from everywhere to come see it. And we're only in previews. We open on the 13th. Um, it's going from now until March.
Oh,
Um,
well,
yeah, we're at the Broadway Theater.
I'm definitely gonna catch it then.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. I am telling you, it's a brand new play. It's a new play. It's a new Broadway. It's everything. We're making history, and it's groundbreaking, man. It's for us, by us. So come
Mm.
support us.
Listen, I'm gonna come check it out, Luke. I appreciate you. This is a safe space. Some people, they get so nervous they come on the show. They're like, "Oh my God, what is he gonna say?" But we've known each other for so long. I'm
Yeah,
I'm I'm glad that you came. But I can't wait to see you again. I'm gonna come check out the show, and everybody else should check it out too.
man, I can't wait, man. I'm so grateful to have met you a couple days ago, and I'm so grateful to have known you all these years, to be to grow with you. You know what I mean? Look at us. It was
Black,
all a
black,
dream.
black, and thriving.
You feel me?
All right. Well, I can't wait to see you again. Take
Yes,
care.
sir. You too, bro.
All right, look, that was a great show. And make sure you keep coming back, because we got all types of amazing interviews and topics that are going to make you go crazy.
That's right. That means like, subscribe, do everything you need to do to make sure you stay up to date with what we got going on.
And ladies, stay tuned in because you know I have your back.
And listen, make sure that you're commenting below, because even though I say I don't read it on the show, that's all I do when it's over. Peace.